Alright, everybody, for this month's Game of Ill Repute, we are playing Spacebase DF-9. This is one that I've been wanting to talk about for some time. This is perhaps the only real mark against Doublefine in all the years they've been around, and is a great example of how a good idea can go bad. Not only that, but this also serves as a double point about how to understand the early access cycle and what not to do. Now, with Spacebase DF-9, the original concept got a lot of people excited. Essentially a sci-fi take on Dwarf Fortress, but with modern accessibility and UI design. So this is pretty much what got a lot of people to try this game out. And the early thoughts or the early plays of Spacebase weren't that bad. And we're going to first show off the standard gameplay of the title, and then we'll kind of talk about how things went from bad to worse. So, I'll see you all in 1 second. Alright, before we get to the game proper, this is the seed generator slash environment procedural generation. So, the basic goal of Spacebase DF-9 was to resell the Milky Way, and to do that we're flinging space pods all throughout the galaxy. You look in the upper right, you can see the difficulty of, or the main variables that determine difficulty. Green means we're having an easy time, red means we're making it harder. Of course, as you can also notice, it's kind of weird, or it's kind of hard to tell like what determines what, because it's average right here. I believe it's going to be based on those stars, but then right here it says extremely low, so who knows, right? Because it's going to be for demo purposes, we're going to try and make things very easy, and you can see what affects it over there. Now, because this game is very finicky in terms of its starting conditions, and we'll talk more about that later on, I'm going to cut the video here, and we'll come back in for some of the basic gameplay and structure. Alright, we are in game now, and it's time to begin how we're going to construct this base. Basically, we are on a timer of 8 minutes, because our crew here only has 8 minutes of oxygen left after our base seed pod has finished. So if we don't get the basic conditions up, they all die and we have to restart. So, as similar to the Dwarf Fortress games, all of our citizens or our people are procedurally built. They have their own personalities, their own sense of stats and stuff, and they also start with different stats relating to jobs. So their jobs they're really good at, but then there's jobs they don't like as well. So to start with, everybody needs to be a builder, because we need to get the basic buildings done, or the basic rooms, or everybody dies. So the first thing we're going to do is we need to construct 2 rooms, specifically. An airlock so that people can breathe, or can get in and out of our base. And we need air. Without both those things, everyone's going to die, and there's not much we can do about it. I cannot, I believe, change the orientation of the isometric camera. Now, similar to Dwarf Fortress and the like, rooms are zoned based on what purpose they serve. So, I zone a room life support, that's what's going to be built there. If I zone a room residential, we'll build those things. So right now, we need to get this going. And hopefully they will not die before they finish building everything we need. I cannot place additional things down until there's an actual room. Come on, people, don't die on me yet. Alright, so once they finish these last 2, what we're going to do now is start building the objects and zoning. So first off, I can put the wall back so we can see it. We need 2 airlock doors. So 1 in, 1 out. We need a spaceship locker so that people can take off their suits. So that's done. And then we're going to put immediately down some life support. Because we need oxygen or everyone dies. I know, very comforting thoughts, right? So let's get these done here. We can drop that out. Good. So we officially have a functioning life support. Don't know where that came from. It was in our pod? Oh, who knows? But oxygen, despite its importance, is very simple. The more we build, the more people who can actually live in our base. So now that they can actually move around, they don't have to worry about dying, we can now start constructing some of the other rooms we need. So what I'm going to do now is... let's cancel that. Let's see. There we go. Hopefully this will connect. And what I want to do now is we're going to build a refinery. Okay. And I almost forgot we need a door. Oh wait, I can't do it until they've actually finished. So it's starting to fill with oxygen. So now they can actually breathe. Because breathing is important, right? Oh, we got a ship coming in. Sure. And as they keep working, they will improve their abilities. Now, as you can see, we have 2 new people coming in, but the problem is we don't have the air for it. So I'm going to build a second right there. And you really have to build this the same way at the start just to keep people alive. Oop, now, because they just built themselves into a dead space there, I need to get some doors. There we go. Now people can talk, they can breathe, everything's good. So now the next thing we're going to need is we need to start earning resources. So we need a reactor. Or, I'm sorry, a refinery. Come on. It said it could fit. Don't lie to me, game. That's not nice. Where was it? Oh, not a reactor. I'm sorry, a refinery. Where were you? There we go, right in the middle. So let's get that built. Alright. So with this in place, I wonder if I can move this. It's time to start taking stock of what we have. If I'm going to get people to do work, or to get what I need to do more, we're going to need Get a few more builders. We have 2 miners. We need to start getting what we need here. Uh-oh. So we need a doctor. Is anyone a doctor here? Alright, you're a doctor. So in order to do mining, what we do is we come over here. Oh good, orange pox. We're going to tell them to mine that. So now our miner is going to go and start getting us some money. We'll slow things down a little bit here. Now, what I would like to do is we need to get some rooms that are going to make life a little bit better for everybody. So I'm going to build right off of here. Let's get power. I think power is going to be very important, don't you? We actually can't do that yet. Meanwhile, that's putting out some basic power for us. Alright, and now we'll start to earn some money. Because money is good. Or matter is good. Yay. Now, we want to keep these people alive. We need the resources to start building what we need here. So, let's see. I don't need a matter refinery. I'm looking for a fusion reactor. There we go. Good. Let's fast forward. With power and oxygen in play, we have what we need to hopefully start getting a base going. I see. That should connect automatically once they start building. He's exercising, it looks like. And we have someone on mining, right? Juan. Where's Juan? Come on, Juan, do something here. Don't play a game. Now, oxygen flows through our base based on where the recyclers are. There you go. Come on, buddy. We need that matter. As time goes on, derelict vessels will also start showing up, and there could be bad stuff in them. Alright. That's it. Come on. What about you? Sure, come on board. Probably need to build another oxygen recycler, though. Oh no, we're good. So, who are you? Well, he really likes to be a Volvu. Likes to be a botanist. There we go. Uh-oh. What's going on here? Wait, please tell me my doctor died. Well, that's just some bad luck right there. Oh. What is going on? Wow. Well, that is just some bad luck. Well, we need security here. Get him. Oh, that was a surprise right there, right folks? So we'll do this. Oh, not again. They keep letting them build themselves into doors, or build themselves into dead spaces. So, build that here, build that there. Alright, you're gonna be the new doctor. What's going on here? Let's see. Why is it not connected? Let's see. Do we have anything that could explain why they're not going in? Well, we have walls, we have floors. It's hard to tell. But maybe if we put some power in, that will help. So, we come back over here, but you never get this UI down, right? And we're going to put a fusion reactor. There we go. Oh. What is going on here? Uh-oh. Oh man, you should be good. We got power. I don't know where the action figure came from. Sometimes when air is too strong, will blow people out. But we should be good. Once oxygen begins to flow, they should be able to get out of there. So now we need to start getting things back on track. We need our miner again. It will be our technician. Or actually, there we go. This air should start flowing freely here. But we need more mine. We need more materials here. There we go. What do you want? Come on. Not sure why it's not letting me click on it now. But as you can see, as the people, as they begin to upgrade, we can start to hopefully survive. Again, I'm not sure why it's not answering our hail. Let's see. Don't know why we can't hurt that. Alright, so we have a technician. Oh, let's build some residential space. Now, derelicts can have all manner of strangeness in them. We don't know what it could be. There could be nothing in there, or it could be dangerous aliens. But in the meantime, I want to, hopefully... I want to get a little... Ooh, no, we don't need that. Well, just be on the safe side. We better just erase that. There. We need to get some residential going. For space beds. Let's see, maybe we add this along. Come on. It's not a smart UI, unfortunately. Like, if I were to do this, it would build it without a floor, and then they would all get sucked into space. Alright, that's enough. And I can't save it either. But we need to get some security going. Or we need more people to start showing up so I can get security. Come on, mine that thing. And then research comes in, allowing us to build some new stuff, speed things up, as you can see. And of course, it's very generic. Like so. Surprisingly, this is the best run I've had so far, trying to record this. Alright, now I have enough to build what I want. So there's that. And we want to build... No, we don't want that. I want to have enough room for like 10 beds if possible. There we go. Uh-oh. Oh no, they're fighting each other. Man, these people are not really helping us here, are they? Well, you're gonna have to be the doctor now, buddy. At least they don't have Spaceman this yet. Alright, once he's up... Okay. We need to build something for food. And this can go anywhere, so we'll build it right there. Alright, we need someone to be a miner again. That'll be you. And you'll be our builder. No, again, there you go. Because if they don't eat, we're in trouble. There you go. Yeah, we need them. Good. Hopefully this person will be better than who we had so far. We'll get a second builders to get things going. Oh, they're sleeping. Let's make him a builder too, so we can get that stuff going. Also notice that they're not building in terms of priority. We'll just get everybody to build. And you're probably starting to see some of the issues that the game has in terms of its long-term viability. But at this point now we just have to worry about attacks, more of those damn parasites, and keeping everybody happy and fed. Oh. You know, they could just build it. I mean, it's literally right there. Oh, we didn't have enough time to explore the derelict, but because we don't have enough people. And then same deal. Build a few doors. And the room is done. Probably build a fire extinguisher next too. Alright, come on, build some stuff here. We need food. Good, now they can eat. Alright. Everybody's got some food in them. We can now... There's our trash can. There's a dresser, plant, build emergency alarm, or extinguisher there. But now we really need to get some matter going. So... You two will be that. You will be our technician, and you will be our builder. Well, we don't really have a choice. Somebody's gotta be a miner here. And since matter is being made out of food... Oh, now what? Oh, come on. Man, we are not getting lucky here. Alright, everybody go into security mode. Get him. Pew pew. Alright. You're the builder. No, you're the technician. You're the builder. And you the doctor. And you're the miner. Well, now we can turn those guys into... What's this? Wow. And he killed someone already. Damn. We are just not having luck here, aren't we? I think everybody's dead now. Oh my god. But as you can see, that's how things can go from bad to worse in Spacebase DF-9. Now, as you saw, the basics are here for a really good game, but for our next part, we're going to restart, again, I guess in my case, and we're going to talk about why things went wrong. So, see you all in a second. Alright. When it came to Spacebase DF-9, Doublefine had a pretty clear idea of what they wanted this game to be. And there was a lot of buzz regarding how they were going to do a lot of this. The website featured a lot of things they were planning on doing for the game, including additional features, more interconnectivity between the systems, making power a lot more complicated, and so on. As well as touching up the UI and making it a lot easier for this beginning. And so when the game went into early access, things were good. However, the problem happened with during or after the early access. What happened was, following the game's release, they were talking about having monthly updates to the game similar to Prison Architect. And it started out great. There were a few big patches, the content was good, and then everything went dark. Developers completely disappeared, there was no information about what was happening with the game, and this lasted for several months. What the reason was that Doublefine was doing their Amnesia Fortnite game jam, and they decided to put all their attention towards that, and kind of leave Spacebase DF-9 on the back burner. Unfortunately, as we have learned the hard way, You cannot do that when it comes to an early access game. People expect consistent results. They expect more and more content coming in so that you know that the game has not been abandoned. And what Doublefine did was a very rookie mistake. And what happened was, of course, what everybody expected. Everyone saw that the game wasn't working, so people stopped supporting it, which meant that the negative reputation around Spacebase DF-9 grew. And what we learned was, as things went on, the negative reputation that the game received was drastically cutting into sales. Now, normally that wouldn't be too bad with an early access game, as you would think that there would be room for improvement. The game would keep seeing development over the course of early access, and hopefully the people who didn't like the game would come back around when things were fixed, especially with the laundry list of features that Doublefine had planned. However, that's not what happened. And we learned just before the game was quote-unquote released that Doublefine actually lied to the consumers. And here's what happened. The update or the feature list on the main website, that's not what was put into the budget for Spacebase DF-9. That was their hopeful list of things to put in if the game sold well. And nowhere did Doublefine say that. What they were banking on was essentially getting, and I remember this, like 2.5 to 3 years of funding through the consumers to support Spacebase DF-9. Now, this was also around 2014, so this was in the middle of development for Prison Architect, who I believe Doublefine was trying to copy their success. But the problem was, Prison Architect, while it had a very bare bones beginning, it saw continued and constant support over its early access, and that put people's minds at ease. And they saw that Introversion had a game plan, and the game came together one step at a time. With this game, however, because of that period of no work and no updates, it left people wondering just what was going on. And again, it created the situation where the game needed more work to be done in order to get to basically earn that money. But in order to earn that money, it had to be producing it to begin with. And nothing was happening for Spacebase DF-9. So, as the story went on, the game, just due to lack of communication by Doublefine and negative sales, or I'm sorry, a lack of sales, left them in a position where, quite frankly, they didn't have the money to fix this game. And what happened, and this is where things get really bad and why a lot of people are not too happy with Doublefine after this, was that following the game's announcement that it was going to 1.0, it was left in a state, it really didn't get the updates it needed. What happened was Doublefine basically lied. They completely changed the page to remove all the things they had promised and just left the stuff that they worked with, stating that the game was done. But fans, including yours truly, knew that was a bold-faced lie. When the game was released, I believe it was October of 2014, it was in this state. Which again, the basics are here, but there's nothing else. This goal page, for instance, was their quote-unquote way of having an endgame. But you don't unlock anything by completing these goals. They're just there as a checklist. Not only that, but a lot of the more sci-fi elements, more with research, more with the connection of your people, none of that made it into the final version. They did release modding tools as a means of trying to save face, but again, it was too little too late. What we're left with is a game that wasn't worth it for people to want to keep supporting. And because they decided to just disappear for all that time, nobody really trusted that Doublefine was going to put out something worth playing. And That's a really big shame. And again, what makes this such a hard pill to swallow? Now, in terms of lessons, what hurts this game is that when you're doing early access, you cannot shortchange yourself in terms of providing continued support. They thought they would put this game on the early access. It would basically pay for itself, considering the Doublefine name, and again, the legacy they've earned after the success of, what was it, Broken Age. But Kickstarter and early access are two completely different things. As we've said before, if you want people to support a game, they need to see that work is being done. They don't want to hear that you decide to take, 4 or 5 weeks off, or even a few months off, because your whole team was busy having fun doing a game jam. And again, when they got back to work and found that everybody was annoyed and nobody was playing the game, it kind of put a really big problem over what their funds were. Alright, so you're a happy miner. Alright, you're good. And when you have this kind of catch-22 where the game is left in a state that it needs more funding to make it right, but it's not earning that money because everyone's pissed off, it's basically a dead game. And this whole beginning with having 8 minutes to get basics going where everybody dies, that is not how you want to start a game like this. And as you saw over the course of the last play and where we're at now, everything is just blah. And it's nowhere near the state of what happened with Prison Architect. And again, everything that they were trying to do with that game. But again, so much of what could have been is what makes this such a sad story. Is that a Dwarf Fortress style game with accessibility, that could probably sell really well. But at the end of the day, Doublefine just did not understand how to do early access, and I don't think they've done an early access game since. I think, actually, I may be lying. I know Massive Chalice, I believe it did go on early access following its Kickstarter, but nowhere in the same state as when Spacebase was on early access. So that's pressurizing there. Yeah, we know. Uh-oh. So of course we're going to be getting attacked again, even though we kept things very short. And again, that's another big point about this, is that a lot of the stuff that the game has, it doesn't really do anything. It's interesting, yes, to see what could have been done, but again, there's just not anything here, so I'm going to once again have to defend myself. Get him. Pew pew. So I can actually show what the thing is. So we can go and we can tell them to explore this base. So that's going to send everybody over there. And we're going to try and take over the base. Come on. I can actually use this as my own base. Basically take this over and claim it for myself. There we go. So this is now ours, I believe. We have matter. We have oxygen. Let's see, I know there's a way to claim ownership, and I just don't know it. Or we could actually just tear this whole thing down and use them as materials. Alright, so that's done. We can put everybody back to normal. You're our happy miner. You're our, unfortunately, unhappy doctor. And we're good. We have another derelict showing up. So what I can do is... Oh, not there. Just tear it all down. And then we will rebuild it for ourselves. And then that will earn the money to keep going. But again, the game just never reaches that same level of all manner of craziness and variety of emergent situations that we saw with Dwarf Fortress. And again, the reason was that all that was planned if the game earned its funding. But I'm pretty sure, considering Introversion's pedigree, that even if the game didn't sell as well as we saw it did, they would have still had plans to, you know, have a 1.0. Would it have been as grand as this? Or as what we saw? Probably not. But it would have been something completed, and it would have been within their scope. But given the success, it gave them the ability to grow things out. With Spacebase, they just bet the whole thing on it being through early access to crowdfund that game. And because of that, it was left in this state because they were left without any answer. How do you keep supporting a game when you don't have the money to come in and you can't make it any better? And as you saw here, everything that we're playing is just like surface features. Research is very basic. The event situation is very basic. What's happening with your actual base, again, all kept very simple. It's not a bad game, that's the sad part. But what it could have been and what we got are two vastly different things. So I'm going to let this asteroid hopefully hit our base so we can see some, at least a little bit of excitement. And then we'll head back to the main menu for my final thoughts. He's busy trying to deconstruct all that. Where is it? Come on. Here it comes. Again, just not a lot to do here. Don't go in there. Alright. Maybe we can make that a wall so people aren't sucked into space. Come on, people. And again, you just don't have the options or the quality of life features to really manage things like we saw with Prison Architect. But let's head back to the main menu now, because I think you've seen enough of the game and you've heard the story, and we'll discuss whether this game deserves to be a game of ill repute or not. Alright, it's time for my final thoughts and kind of to wrap things up for Spacebase DF-9. Going back to the game after so many years, I'm not angry about it, but I am just so disappointed. Again, with what could have been. It seems like we've had some really bad luck with Dwarf Fortress-esque games, as we saw with Gaslamp Games' Clockwork Empires. Now, the problems facing Clockwork were far different from Spacebase. With Clockwork, Gaslamp just could not figure out how to build their core gameplay loop. In this case, Spacebase had that core gameplay loop down, but they again failed to grasp how to handle early access, both in terms of fan response and what you're putting on there. And again, what we have, I'm going to load these a little bit more so we can hear me. And again, with Spacebase DF-9, the original, very first version of this game on early access was again very bare bones like Prison Architect. But Prison Architect quickly closed that gap in terms of what it wanted out of the game, and people saw that with the first set of updates. And again, I got into Prison Architect around update, I think that was 12 or 13 was the first time I loaded the game up. So that was about 13 updates or 13 months of work. With Spacebase, we basically got like 2 months, then 2 to 3 months if I remember right. Then they disappeared for several months, and then they came back to find that things weren't working, and then the game was released in October. And to throw even more fuel on the fire, they said they were going to do all the work they could and make this the best game possible, and then went to 1.0. And nobody, unfortunately, fell for it, with the game having probably the lowest reviews out of any game from Double Fine. Sadly, Gaslamp tried to do the same thing with Clockwork Empires to keep money going and to earn that support, and unfortunately people didn't do it there either. But again, it's such a very interesting case as to what can go wrong with game development. Sometimes, like with Clockwork Empires, you can have a good idea but can't figure out how to take things forward. With Spacebase, you can have an idea, you know what you want to do, but then you slip up on what it means to manage and keep the game going. And I think what they failed with Spacebase DF-9 are the lessons they learned with Massive Chalice. Massive Chalice was, I believe, put into early access in a far greater state. They had constant communication from the developers, and it only stayed on it for a short period of time. Again, with Spacebase, they didn't tell anybody that they were budgeting or they were hoping to earn 2.5 to 3 years of funding through early access. And again, that is not how you want to bet on game development. If you only have enough money in the budget for, 6 months or a year, then that's what you got to promote as your game. If it does well enough to go further, amazing, great, go for it. But you can't sell people a plan and not tell them what the scope of that plan was. Now, with games like Stonehearth, which have been in development for a few years now, they're also having a little bit of trouble with keeping people invested. But again, they have constant communication. There's always their development outline that's being updated, so people are trusting that there's work being done and that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. The same thing happened with the amount of time Battle Brothers was on early access. But again, with Spacebase DF-9, I do think from a management standpoint, it does earn the title of being a game of ill repute. But again, from a design standpoint, just like with SimCity that we looked at last time, it's not a bad game. I mean, I've played worse games, I'm sure so have you watching this. But it's a case where things have gone wrong that just lead to everything spiraling out of control. Now, for those of you who have played Spacebase DF-9, I'm curious what you think about the game. Did you pick it up at launch, or were you like me and you followed the development and kind of saw the slow-moving car crash or train wreck? Let me know in the comments below, but thank you for watching this month's Game of Ill Repute. Once a month, we'll be doing this, and regularly Mondays we'll have our dissecting design pieces. If you'd like to suggest a game that could be worthy of a Game of Ill Repute, let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, check back for daily discussions on game design here, and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games. Until next time, have a good night. Before we get to the credits, just wanted to give a quick thank you and shout out to the supporters over on patreon.com/gwbicer. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Check back around 10 Eastern for regular streaming. If you'd like to suggest games for me to cover or topics to talk about, let me know in the comments below. For a collection of my writings as well as weekly podcasts on design, check out game-wisdom.com. To support the Game Wisdom Patreon, you can find us on there on patreon.com/gwbicer. $1 will get you into our private Discord channel where we talk game topics and more. $5 will get you voting privileges for any major event, including the Saturday Night Grab Bag, Patreon-funded goals, and more. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you enjoy more videos here on the Game Wisdom YouTube channel.